Hi there. I want to give you some information about what's going on with the housing market in Pittsburgh. It is currently taking houses longer to sell. That's partly because of the time of year and then also the fact that it's an election year. This time of year, the market's always a little slower because by this time of year, the parents have already moved to get their kids into the new school district. Everyone's getting settled in their school routine. And then also, an election year also causes houses to sell slower, just because although the country has never fallen apart, regardless of who has won the presidential election, it does always give people pause, and during election years, the market is slower. So during the summer months, when the weather's nicer, it always takes less days to sell a house. That's also the time of year when parents are trying to move before the new school year starts. Then, like I said, once the school year starts and we move toward the holidays, the market just slows down. Comparing this year to last year houses sold in 19 days in August and 20 days in September. And then this year in August, again, it was 19 days and September was 23 days. So last year compared to this year, the days to sell was basically identical. So then let's jump ahead to the future and see what might happen during these next few months. So here's a look at the fourth quarter for the past 3 years. As you can see, the months are pretty identical for how long it has taken houses to sell during the past 3 years. So I think that's a pretty good indication for what these upcoming months are going to look like. So now let's take a look at inventory, and that means how many houses are available to buy. So just as a quick refresher, I always like to show this chart before I jump into the numbers because I think it gives a really good, clear picture of what a seller's market is and what a buyer's market is. So I'm going to show you the numbers in a minute, but if the numbers that I'm showing you are less than 6, that means it's a seller's market, favoring sellers. That means there are more buyers than homes available. And then if it's higher than 7, that means it's a buyer's market. So there are more houses for sale than buyers who want to buy them. Okay, so every month I track inventory just so I know what's going on with the housing market. And from August to September, the inventory jumped up 1 whole point. So the inventory is almost at a 4 right now. So if we look back at the chart I just showed you, it is still a seller's market, but this is the first time that we've been near a 4 since January of 2023. I mean, you can see these numbers all throughout 2023 and so far in 2024. This is the highest inventory that we've had in almost 2 years. And then even if we go back to 2021 and 2022, you can see inventory was way lower. So if you go back to October of 2022, we had 3.7 months of inventory, but otherwise, like I said, this is the highest inventory in September that we have had over the past 4 years since January of 2023. I also wanted to show you this chart because houses are currently selling for less than the asking price. As you can see, in April, May, June, and July, houses were selling for 100% of the asking price. And I was actually a little surprised by this just because houses sell more quickly during the summer. So I was surprised that they didn't sell for over the asking price. But based on the data, this summer, houses were just selling for 100% or just even at asking price. And then you can see that in August, houses started selling for less than the asking price. Here's what's going on with median sales in Allegheny County. And I want to point out again, these are single-family houses in Allegheny County. That's what I do all of my data on, just because I tend to sell the most in Allegheny County, so I want to be very well versed in what's going on there. But these numbers show all of the information for single-family houses in Allegheny County, and you might look at the numbers and say, those are kind of low. But these are factoring in the $60,000 houses and also the $1 million+ houses. So it's just coming up with the average. As you can see, for the past 5 years, the average price in Pittsburgh has continued to rise. Now, I remember filming a video last spring pointing out that the price last spring was lower compared to the prior year. But as you can see, now prices have rebounded. And I think last spring, people were unsure about the interest rates because that's when they were 7%, 8%, and there was talk about when they were going to go down. So I think a lot of people were just kind of on the fence waiting to see what was going to happen. And it was causing them to either wait and delay purchasing or causing them to offer less on houses because they couldn't afford as much. So let's even go back 10 years and see what the housing market was doing. If you had bought a house in January of 2014, you would have bought it for, let's say, $117,000. You could have sold it this past January for $210,000. So that's almost a $100,000 increase. Obviously, I'm not calculating return on investment or anything like that, but I just wanted to point out the increase because there are people who are still scared of the interest rate and they're sitting on the sideline waiting for rates to go down. There are people who have a 3.25% interest rate and they want to move, but they know they can never probably get an interest rate that low again, so they're also sitting on the fence. And again, I haven't done any calculations for return on investment, but just looking at these numbers, houses have continued to appreciate in Pittsburgh for the past 10 years, regardless of the pandemic or anything else that's gone on. So most likely, they will continue to appreciate. I hope you found this video helpful. I just wanted to give you some quick updates about what's going on in the Pittsburgh housing market. If you have any questions that I didn't answer, please feel free to reach out. I hope you have a great